So, welcome back to another Acceptable Casualties Battle Report. Today we have the grand finale of the Judge Dredd campaign for Constellation Z. It's going to be a drug bust at the projects. This is the table. Like I said, it's a big wide open parking lot with the old projects high rise. So we'll be back in a second to go over all the characters that are going to be part of this final bash. So we'll be back in a second. So here we have the remnants of the Vagoda Block street gang known as the Street Rats. So we'll go down who you guys know first, who you guys have seen around. So first up, we have Mongo is still left with us. Mr. Bigglesworth survived. He's also still with us. Both minions. We got Samson, who's still here, is able to break out, come back. He was supposed to be out for, was it 3 missions? Right, I think we rolled on the injury table, but I decided to kind of let him back for the final fights. This is the grand finale. We also have the gang leader, Lady Mel. She's a level 2. She has like a spit pistol. She's pretty solid. So she's the one who runs this ragged bunch. We also got the Gooch there with his heavy machine gun, ready to hopefully, smoke at least 1 or 2 judges. I think we killed like 1 judge, I think, in this whole campaign. So we kind of owe you guys one. And then we got Skullcap Danny still with us. Hopefully he can do something besides just light a building on fire this game. So that's what we're looking at here for that's what we're looking at for the Street Rats. We'll be back in a second to go over the Justice Department and who they're sending out to make this final raid. So here we have the team from the Justice Department is going to be making the assault for the drug bust. If you guys have been watching, you guys all recognize we have Judge Abbott. She ends up surviving this mission. We're going to promote her to a full-time, just regular street judge. So she's gained enough experience points to warrant it at this point. So you got Judge Abbott, Judge Mako. I got to get him off the table early. This guy's just a beast. Got Judge Vincenzo. And then over here, we brought in another rookie for this one. This is rookie Judge Deckard. So this is what Vin's looking at for his 4 guys to end up assaulting the projects. And we'll be back in a second to kind of go over the deployment and how the mission is going to work. Okay, so we are back here for deployment for the final mission, the raid on the drug house here in the projects. I'll go over the judges first. So Vin opted to deploy first. He wanted to roll off. And by deploying first, he's also able to go first. So down here, we have Judge Vincenzo and rookie Judge Abbott. They're going to make the frontal charge up into the projects across the wide open parking lot. Over here, we have Judge Deckard, the rookie, coming off this flank. And then over on this side, we have Judge Mako and that damn shotgun going to be coming off this side over here. For Vin, so we talked about it, just in case things get a little crazy here with the shooting. If Vin gets down to 50% casualties, he'll be able to bring in 1 extra judge of his choice, whether it's a riot judge, psycher judge. He'll be able to call back to the precinct and have 1 extra judge come in on a roll of a 5 up. So once he gets 50% casualties, he's going to be able to do that. So for the Street Rats, our deployment, we have Mr. Bigglesworth up here on the roof, kind of staring down Judge Mako, who's over there. Up top, we got the Gooch with that machine gun, trying to pretty much getting 360 degrees worth of firing lanes from up there. In the building here, I don't know if you're gonna be able to really see it because it's kind of dark in there right now. But yeah, you won't be able to. But in there we have Lady Mel, the leader of the street gang, and then we also have Samson. They're both on the 3rd floor over there. And then down here in this building, we have, who do we have down here? I forgot who we threw in there. Oh, that's right. Yeah, we got Skullcap Danny and Mongo are both down here on this floor. So that's kind of the deployment right now. So the way the mission's going to work is they're going to have to raid the drug house. The Justice Department can win by either killing or arresting everybody and then forcing them to run off with the will test once I get below 25%. Yeah, something like that. So we'll just say once 4 or 5 casualties are taken at that point. So that
I was going to throw something in.
What?
Really quick. since we are attacking your home, I would say give you a +1 or a +2 to will.
All right, yeah, so play like a +1 to the will. All right, so that's all right then. So Vin can either do it by getting everybody to break off, or on the third floor there is a stash of Constellation Z that's ready to go out onto the streets. So Vin's able to kind of get into base contact with that, and then have nobody within 5 inches, which is the movement range of contesting it. They'll be able to secure the drug house, and that'll be the end of the mission for them as well. For the street rats to win the mission, they're just going to have to really beat back the assault, and then if they force more than 50% casualties, Justice Department will end up breaking off and having to regroup and live to fight another day. So we'll be back in a second for turn 1 and getting the finale going. So I'll be back in a flash. So we're back here for the end of turn 1, and the judges are making their push on the old projects. So down here, Mako ended up moving up his one move, and then his second action, he was able to get Mr. Bigglesworth to hit the deck, and he's ready to get arrested. He has no fight left in him at this point, so he's just sitting there waiting for this fight to end. Down here, Vin just pushed up with Abbott and Chenzo, and didn't have anybody in firing range, so they're just kind of making their way through the parking lot right now. And then over here, Deckard, he pushed aggressively up to the wall of that first building down there. For the street rats, in our turn, we had Mongo and Skullcap Danny. They both popped out into those windows, fired one shot at Deckard, and Vin was able to dip out of the way. And then I threw my Molotov cocktail at Deckard as well, and once again, Skullcap Danny, he threw it long, and we ended up lighting up the ground behind him. Vin ended up matching the agility test, so it ended up being a miss. Up over here, if you looking through the window, can't really tell right there, but so we got Lady Mel. She popped over there with her spit pistol. She fired 3 dice down, and she was able to peel a wound off of Mako over there. And then up here, I fired the heavy spit gun down into Mako as well. I had some pretty good dice, but Vin ended up tying me with his agility save, and he ended up saving himself from most likely. It probably would have either put Mako down or at least knocked him down to 1 wound. So that was a pretty big roll for him. So overall, pretty good turn so far. Oh, I also fired 1 shot from Samson right there. Was able to get in the range with Vincenzo, but nothing hit on that one. So that's what we're looking at here for the end of turn 1. I'll be back in a second for turn 2 as the Justice Department continues to put pressure on the building. So we were back for the end of turn 2, and this is starting to get bloody. So we'll start over here. Judge Mako pushed up on top of the dumpster over there to kind of get out of line of sight. Everybody getting ready to make his assault on the complex. Down here, they moved up Judge Abbott, and then fired also with Chen's. Vin fired a couple shots in at Samson. 1 shot at Samson, and then a couple bursts over at well, no, it was incendiary, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Incendiary up on the Gooch, and I made two 10-up saves. Yeah, I mean, I rolled a 10 twice, so I made 2 saves for the Gooch, and then Samson's he was pretty easy to save. Really, I really didn't need much on the agility test. Down here, Deckard moved up. He fired 2 shots in at Mongo, and he wasn't able to punch anything through on him. On my turn, I missed with Mongo shooting at Deckard, and then I decided to run out that door and then moving into assault with our buddy Skullcap Danny, and he ended up just beating the piss out of Deckard, so he's laying there on the ground. Samson from the window had 1 shot that went down into Abbott, was able to take her down, and then fired another shot over into Chance, but nothing went through. And then I fired 4 dice from this heavy spitter gun down into Vin again. I had like 2 8s, I think, were my score, and this is the second turn in a row that Vin matched with his agility test, so nothing went through on that. he's you took heaven. And then over here, Lady Mel with her spitter pistol, she moved over to this front window, fired a bunch of shots down into Vin, and I didn't have very good dice, and Vin rolled pretty good on his agility test. So that's what we're looking at here for the end of turn 2. But like I said, man, Mako's gonna be making his push in a minute. If Vin gets up to the edge of that building, that's going to get ugly. And since he lost 50% of his guys, Vin's going to be able to roll in an extra street judge, riot judge, whatever he wants to bring in on a 5-up, and he can pick what table edge he wants. So we'll be back in a second for turn 3 and see how things go. So we're back here for the end of the turn. This is turn 3 or 4? 3. 3, yeah. And turn 3. So Vin tried to get in Riot Judge Hauser, but only rolled like a 3 on the reserve roll. So maybe next turn for Vin. He also moved up. Vincenzo moved up 1 move, left Abbott in the dust, and then ended up firing onto the roof of the incendiary. He had like a 9, I think, for his shooting die, and then I rolled a 10 again with the gooch. So I was able to dodge a bullet there. And then down here, you got Mako ran into the door, making his way for the, we're using like a ladder for the inside of the house to go up levels. So Mako's in there. He's probably like a turn away from getting onto that 3rd floor. I ended up taking the gooch after he got shot at, and I ended up running him back because I really didn't have a good angle as far as firing went. And then down here with Lady Mel's spitter, I fired 2 bursts down into Vincenzo and ended up peeling off 4 wounds. It was pretty good. So Vincenzo's down to 1 wound, and then you also have Samson fired 2 pistol shots down there, but Vin was able to dodge 1, and then then you had your armor. You had like an 8 or something like that. He had to beat whatever, but Vin ended up making the save on that, which is pretty huge. And then over here, Skullcap Danny is making his way inside and try to bludgeon somebody else with that club. And then down here, Mongo is making his way for that front window. So maybe next turn he can get some shots off on the chins. So we'll be back in a second for the top of turn 4. Hopefully Riot Judge Hauser can get in here and give these guys a little bit of support. So we'll be back in a flash. So we are here for the end of turn. I keep forgetting what turn. It's turn 4, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's at the bottom of turn 4, or maybe 5. I have no idea where we're at right now. I just know it's a bloodbath. So for this turn, we had the Chens. He just worked his way into that little safety cubby hole there, waiting for reinforcements with his 1 wound. And then you had Mako pushed his way up to the 3rd floor, and he had a shot down here at Lady Mel. 1 shotgun round would have hit. There was a chance that he could have blew her out the window, but luckily Vin's dice weren't that hot, and I rolled just enough to keep her alive. My turn, I brought the gooch down from the roof and kind of positioned him over there so I can kind of get next to the Constellation Z. And then I turned around Lady Mel and Samson because I couldn't get a fix on Vin, and we just fired a whole bunch of shots in the Mako, and we were only able to peel off 1 wound. So that's really not the best news because he's going to rip through these guys pretty quick. For everybody that was down here, we ended up moving Mongo up to the window over there to kind of cover the Chens. And then we pushed up Skullcap Danny. He's on the back end of the 2nd floor. He's a turn away from getting up to the 3rd floor. So that's what we're looking at right now for bottom of turn. I'm just going to say 5. I'm probably wrong. But so we'll be back in a second. Riot Judge Huzar didn't come in last turn, automatically comes in this turn, and I know they can use the reinforcements. So we'll be back in a flash. So we are back here for the end of turn 6, and this one got pretty bloody and came to a finale this turn. So up here, you guys can see Judge Mako there. So we fired another shotgun round in the Lady Mel, and I was able to dodge out of the way with like a 9 or something like that. So I really lucked out. And then he turned in charge and just beat the piss out of the gooch. It was pretty ugly. I think like 3 wounds ended up going through. It was bad. So the gooch was just like laid out in the corner. You had riot judge Huzar come in off the table edge, getting ready to make his assault into the building. And then over here, you had Judge Vincenzo fire up some ricochet rounds into the window with 5 dice. He had some pretty good dice, but I rolled an 11, right? Yeah. Or 9, yeah, 10 or an 11, like with my bonuses. So I was able to dodge out of the way. So I didn't take any wounds with Lady Mel. And then on my turn, I moved up. I tried to do the concussion thing, and I ended up missing against Judge Mako. And then Lady Mel moved up, and I got 1 shot of the spitter fire off, which was 3 dice. I had a critical hit and then an 8, and then another like 4. Vin ended up canceling out the 4, and then so the other 2 punched through, and then Vin failed his armor tests, and it was enough to take down Judge Mako, which put Vin below 50%, and then he had his willpower check, and that he rolled like a 3 or a 4. So the Justice Department had to leave the projects, going to try to regroup, figure out what they're going to do next to try to assault. And the street rats ended up holding down the fort. Excuse me. Street rats held down the fort. They're probably going to have to pack up the product and move somewhere else because this area is a little bit too hot right now. So thanks for watching. We're going to come back in a second, and we're going to do the fatalities, the leveling up, and all the stuff that goes with it. So I'll be back in a flash. So the assault on the projects has come to a close, and this is what ended up happening. So Lady Mel ended up leveling up. Samson ended up leveling up. Mongo, nothing happened. For Skullcap Danny, we ended up promoting him since there was an opening for one of like the hero levels, so he's going to get upgraded to a hero. Down here, Mr. Bigglesworth, even though he was arrested, since the Justice Department lost, he was not apprehended. So we ended up bringing him back. And then the Gooch, man. It couldn't have gone any worse for the Gooch. So the Gooch, we ended up rolling on the injury table, and he ended up getting a crippling injury to his right arm, which ended up now he's not able to use the heavy spitter gun anymore. He's been busted down to a handgun. So the Gooch is pretty much just like a regular crony. He has like some agility and movement penalties. Or no, it's agility and melee penalties for him now. So he's definitely not as effective as he used to be. But overall, things went pretty well for the street rats. So now let's swing on over to the Justice Department. So as you can see, Officer Deckert, he died. But we got rookie Judge Abbott, ended up surviving on the roll with a 9. So she was able to bounce back from the injury. She's going to come back. And since she survived 4 missions and had like, how many did she have? Oh yeah, she's been promoted. Yeah. And since she's had like 8 experience points, she's going to get promoted to a level 1 hero. So she's going to be part of the force from here on out. Huzar, I mean, he showed up for a turn. Didn't happen. Nothing good happened for him. Judge Mako, you know, he did a lot of damage, but he ended up getting wounded pretty badly. What he got? Crippled left leg or something like that. Yeah, so Mako has a crippled left leg, so his movement and agility both went down 1. So he's going to be slow and lumbering, but I don't know. He's still a badass. It didn't really affect him that much. And then Vin, I don't think Vin registered any experience points because they broke off the table. So nothing really too big for the Justice Department. Outside of Abbott getting promoted. So this is the end of the campaign. I hope you guys liked it. Leave some comments, some notes, some stuff that you guys want to see. Probably going to do another one of these, probably maybe like in a month. Kind of going to see how things go. We're going to have the new army lining up for this as well. So yeah, leave some comments. Let us know what you guys thought. We may add some new terrain too. So we're going to try to spice things up a little bit as far as the variety on the table. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Catch you guys later.